Get canceled. And that's what my speech is going to be about today. Cancel culture and why is it bad for our free society. So some of the arguments being presented today are what is canceling, why and how it is utilized as a weapon, and how it embraces tribalism. So how is this relevant to you? The individual self-expression by spoken opinion or actions taken with little to no context can be held against you. So it doesn't matter about your transgressions today or yesterday or even future transgressions. Any good that you have done up until this point can be easily wiped because of some past action or lapse of judgment that you had in the past. And the sad part about it, it doesn't matter how long the time has passed. It could be from the 70s with the culture context then to the 80s and 90s. Pop culture always goes in stages where we all have our own era of what's popular, basically. So cancellation culture, it is defined as to destroy the force, effectiveness, or validity of. So it's a weapon used to destroy, disrupt careers. We have actors that are being canceled right now, politicians, managers of companies, or just companies in general, like Chick-fil-A. It's a Christian business and restaurant. It got canceled because they are against gay marriage. They're open about their religious and what the religious freedom, anyways, and they're trying to be canceled because they're anti-LGBTQ, which is weird because they hire a lot of gay people inside their restaurants too. So, canceled. Just like that. Okay, so common themes among the cancel culture is ethnicity, any group considered minority based on race, gender, male, female, preferred pronoun or fluidity, because gender is a social construct. And then we have sex, which is biological sex, which is specifically male or female. So you have your sexism, and you have the ethnicity, and you have, which is racism, you have gender, which if you don't use the correct pronouns for people, it can be taken as offense, and tribalism, us versus them. So the war is fought over power. Okay, so let's say a teacher gets fired and is accused of racism or sexism the teacher gets accused of being racist or sexist for maybe how they graded a paper on there, and the teacher maybe made some kind of statement over social media or in a private conversation, but it comes to light, and the institution is then therefore complacent with the teacher in its racism or sexism because he was employed by them at that time. So people especially see it at Berkeley, and you see that FSU and at UF also, is teachers that are found of doing some kind of what can be deemed as a offensible crime, at least in the social aspect. The institution is therefore held in that same regard, which it shouldn't be. Alright, so the next one that we have, and this is Natasha Tynes right here. And Natasha Tynes, she basically tweeted, and she was an author, and she had a $15 million book deal. And there was a woman that was eating a sandwich on a metropolitan Washington area train. And so she took a picture of it and said, hold your employees basically to the same standard as you hold your customers. And she, in effect, got canceled for racism, classism, because they also said that maybe she couldn't take a break, she was working so much. And she was body shaming because the black woman who I guess works so much is also overweight. It's a pretty weird thing. And a proponent for cancel culture might say, canceling has to do with the injustices minorities have been dealt with in the past, present, and future. Bill Cosby and Jordan Peterson. We can all agree Bill Cosby deserved to be canceled, and he's going to jail now too because what he did. He abused his power as an actor, and he had multiple offenses of sexual misconduct. But Jordan Peterson, on the other hand, he's just against compelled speech, which in Canada is illegal. So if you don't use somebody's pronoun in Canada, you can be fined or go to jail. He was fine with using calling somebody by their pronoun, he, she, they, or whatever they wanted, but he didn't want to be compelled to by the government. He didn't want it to be a law. He wanted to do it by his own free will. Okay, and next we'll discuss where canceling goes wrong. Weapon, it's popular among left-wing groups mostly. And right-wing do have their instances of it, but it's very popular in pop culture with left-wing groups. So, okay, give me 1 second. So with Natasha Tynes, whenever she was accused of those things, somebody also might say this proponent for cancellation would say that 70% of women have body shaming or body issues, and that was founded by I forget the name of the group on there, but I'm sure I get points taken off of that. Anyways, in reality, there's no context on why she would have posted that. You know, you can easily say without any sort of evidence and point a finger and say it's because of these reasons, and this is the reason why, and there's nothing else that could happen for you to make that choice. Or she could have just simply said it because she wants people to be held to the same standard that she has to be held to. And the same thing goes with affirmative action too. That's why a lot of people have a problem with it. Alright, finally, we will move on to my final argument, which is tribalism. So tribalism is fostering community that is anti-progressive, anti-democracy, and fundamentally anti-human rights. According to Elizabeth Siegel, a PhD and writer for Psychology Today, states that human survival relies on groups, but what if those connections are toxic? So originally tribalism was a good thing, because that's the reason why we were able to survive the ice age, disease, any kind of natural disaster. We relied on each other as social animals to bring in our resources, communicate well, and make it towards the next generation and generation after that. That's where tribalism is good, when they all have one idea, which was survival. And bad tribalism is the purpose to silence, basically demand silence of anybody who does not share the same values as your group. And it ostracizes and denies individuals' rights for the well-being of that group. So it's unconstitutional, and it strikes fear where people that would otherwise speak up for something they believe in will not, because they don't want to lose their job, or they do not want to be called out for being a racist when they're not actually being a racist. And in conclusion, see, this is the good kind. United we stand, united we fall. That's good tribalism. But it should never be about us versus them. We should always work together and try to find a common goal. But us versus them does not foster that kind of development. Okay, so in conclusion, I will leave you with this quote from Joe Rogan. Cancel culture is just regular harassment wearing a progressive mask. That's all it is. And what is canceling and why it can be dangerous to society? These are some of the points we went over. Canceling gone viral and why it is utilized as a weapon among extreme left-wing groups. And fostering community of tribalism is anti-progressive and anti-democracy and fundamentally human rights